My name is Bhavika Paryani and I am from Group 102 and our topic is Constitution. First, after that we will also discuss about the difference and the similarities between the Russian and the Indian Constitution. Firstly, we will discuss about the what is Constitution. Constitution is an aggregate of fundamental principles or established precedents that constitute the legal basis of a polity, organization, or other type of entity and commonly determine how that entity is to be governed. When these principles are written down into a single document or a set of legal documents, those documents may be said to be embodied or written constitution. If there are E45 composed in a single comprehensive document, it is said to be embodied, a codified constitution. Some constitutions, such as that of the United Kingdom, are uncodified but written in numerous fundamental acts of legislature, court cases, or treaties. Constitution concern different level of organization from sovereign countries to companies and incorporated association. A treaty which established an international organization is also its constitution, in that it would define how that organization is to be constituted. Within states, a constitution defines the principle upon which the state is based, the procedure in which laws are made by whom. So, some constitutions, especially codified constitution, also act as a limitator state powers by establishing lines which a state rulers cannot cross, such as fundamental rights. The Constitution of India is the longest written constitution of any country in the world. Then, proposed amendment. We have two amendments. First, the amendment will delete in a row clause and will allow any person to be re-elected as president even after two terms. It also strengthened the authority of Duma, the lower house. It will enhance the power of the prime minister. Now, I will explain about the brief comparison of Indian and Russian system. Firstly, constitution. The Russian constitution was framed in 1993, while the Indian one was made in the November 1949 and adopted in the January 1950. Second, the form of government. Russia has a semi-presidential system of government, while India has a parliamentary form of government. Executive. In both countries, PM is appointed by president, but in Russia, PM performs president duty in case of his death or resignation, while the same responsibility is given to vice president in case of India. Authority of the president is stronger in Russia, while the PM enjoys more power in the case of India. Term of the Russian president is 6 years, while it is 5 years for the Indian president. In Russian, president cannot have more than two consecutive terms in a row, but there is no such limitations in India. There is a reason. Mr. Putin is required to step down in 2024. Legislative. The lower house is called Duma and the upper house is called a Federation Council. So, Duma is more powerful, just like Lok Sabha is more powerful than Rajya Sabha. Duma members are chosen by the proportional representation system, while Lok Sabha members are chosen by the first past of the past system. Duma has the power to pass a no confidence vote, but the same can be discarded by the president. However, this can't be done by Indian president in case of Lok Sabha. Judiciary. This is not a single integrated judiciary in Russia like in India. There is an independent constitutional court and the Supreme Court at the apex. The constitutional court is authorized to adjudicate disputes between the executive and legislative branches and between Moscow and the religion and the local government. The Supreme Court of Russia is the highest court and supervises inferior courts of the general jurisdiction. The capital city of India is New Delhi and the Russia is Moscow. Government type, there is a in India there is a President Pranab Mukherjee, and in Russia there is President Vladimirovich Putin. And the government type, in India there is a federal republic, but in Russia there is a federation. Now, for this topic will be further explained by my friend Ellen. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Alan Sebastian from Medical Faculty 102 and I'll be talking about the judicial power in both countries in India and Russia. First, let's talk about India. Let's talk about the Indian's judicial structure. First, the judicial system and the judiciary system in India is called the justice system or the court system. The court has the right to make decisions and to uphold the law and settle conflict as well. The judicial system consists of judges and other magistrates who form benches or heart of the judicial system. On 26 January 1950, the Indian Constitution was written, and the world's largest constitution written. The Constitution is a source of law in India, and also supreme law in India. The judicial system of India consists of the Supreme Court, High Court, and District Court or Subcourt. Now, as you can see in the picture, first I will be talking about Supreme Court. Under the Constitution of India, the Supreme Court is the final court of appeal. Hence, the Chief of Justice, including 30 judges and other judges for advisory consideration, unsolved or still dispute cases, are allowed up to the Supreme Court to retain justice. If the Supreme Court declares a law is binding on all other courts of the retained justice, the Supreme Court declares a law that is just and is a final decision. The decision made by the Supreme Court is the final decision. And next I'll be talking about the High Court. The High Court under the Constitution of India, every state should regard one High Court. Mumbai High Court is the oldest High Court in India. Every High Court has 94 judges out of 71 are permanent and 23 are additional judges. High Court deals with the economic issues and legal documents. This court also have additional set of legal professionals eligibility to have higher high courts. Okay, for if you want to, if you've been a justice in high court, then there are like certain conditions. The person should be a citizen of India. He should be like experience at least for 10 years in practice in any court. Then a bit now I'll talk about district court. Well, district under the Constitution of India, district court of or sub-courts are subordinate of high court. District courts are established according to the population distribution, distribution according to the district and state. It looks after the civil and criminal matters of a district. Law declared by the district court is applicable to all subordinate courts. Since district court is a higher hierarchical level, eligibility to judge a district court is. So if you want to be a judge in a district court, there are like certain law. He should be a citizen of India. He should be an advocate at least for like 7 years. So now I'll talk about the judicial power in Russia. Russia is a federal presidential republic. The executive power is split between the president and the prime minister. But the prime minister is dominant figure. The legislature is represented by the Federal Assembly of Russia, and it has two chambers: the State Duma, that is, which is known as the lower house, and the Federation Council, the upper house. Judicial power is vested in courts of administrated by the Ministry of Justice. Okay, first, I'll talk about the president. As you can see, the current president of Russia, as my fellow friend, my classmate said, Bhavika said, it's Valdemar Purin. The president is the head of the state and is elected by the popular vote every 6 years of maximum 2 consecutive terms. The original constitution had 4 years presidential term, but it was amended 6 years by the parliament late in 2008. The new rule will not apply to the current administration and will come into working residence in Moscow. Will come into power after during the next election. Uh, the president working resident in Moscow command. The president determines the basic domestic and foreign policy. Is the commander in chief and outpost. The president holds the highest power in Russia. He commands the entire army, and he also issues citizenship and Russian Federation awards, say as state decorations and grand pardons. Now I'll talk about the government. The government duties are split between a number of ministries, some in which in turns have federal service and federal agency and answerable to them. The head of the government, the prime minister, appointed by the president and confirmed by the state Duma. The government is housed in so-called White House in Moscow. The government ensures implement domestic and foreign policy work out of the federation budgets and oversees the implementation of final monarchical policies. Now talk about the parliament. The parliament is the bicameral federal assembly makes the federal law, approves treaties, declares war, and has the powers to pursue both its chamber and are located at Moscow. The Federation Council. I'll talk about Federation Council. It's also known as uh, okay, Council is also known as the upper house. It was created in 1993 constitution. It was act as a voice of Russia's federation entity. The council has an explicitly stated that no political faction are existent in the upper house. Unlike the state Duma, the council isn't directly elected, consists of the representative of Russia federal entities, which has two. One is elected by the entity legislature. The other is nominated by the entity's head. The term of the members are nationally fixed, depends upon the term of religious bodies that are chosen in the. Now I'll talk about State Duma. State Duma is the lower house of the Russian parliament. It has 450 deputies. Deputies are elected for a term of 5 years, according constitutionally amended, agreed by the parliament in 2008. However, the original terms of 4 years will apply to the current Duma, and a new rule will do not come effect until the next election. Any Russian citizen over the age of 21 is eligible to run. Half the seat used to be filled to proportionality. The representation of the half through the single seat constitution. Now the system has been changed. In 2007, the parliament election used to be a new format whereby all deputies are elected by the party list through proportionality representation. Now I'll talk about the judiciary system. Okay, there are three types of court that makes up Russian judiciary. The court that generally judiciary that includes military courts, subordinates to the Supreme Court. He he aggregates the court system under the High Court of the Application, the Constitutional Court. The municipal court is the lowest adjecting body in the general court system. It serves each city or rural district and hears more than 90% of all civil and criminal cases. The next level of court is general jurisdiction, is a religious court at the highest level of Supreme Court. Decision of the lower trial can be generally appealed only to the immediately superior court. Abbreviation court are practiced specialized courts which resolves property and commercial disputes. Economic agents. The highest court resolving economic dispute is the High Court of Abbreviation. The Constitutional Court is empowered to rule whether or not the law is or presidential decreases are constitutional. If it finds a law is unconstitutional, the law becomes unenforceable and the government agency are barred from implementing it. That's all, and thank you. I would like my friend Rushikesh will continue with the rest of the talk. Thank you.
Hello guys, myself Rushikesh Mohite from Group 102, and my subtopic is legislative power and executive power of Russia and India. So let's first see about the legislative power. What do we mean by legislative power? Legislative power is the capacity of a legislative chamber or actors within that chamber to thwart, encourage, or compel actions by others. Now let's first talk about the legislative power of Russia. According to Article 94 of Russian Constitution, legislative power was granted uh, to the federal Federal Assembly, which was divided as the State Duma and Federation Council. The Duma consists of 450 deputies, is elected for 5 years lower chamber, and the Federation Council consists of 170 deputies. The Federation Council hasn't fixed a period of functioning. And the legislative power of India, all the legislative power of the federation government are vested in a parliament. The law formed by the Indian Parliament are enforced in the whole of the country. And the Parliament of India is a bicameral legislature and and it consists of two houses, that is Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha and the President of India. Okay. Then, friends, let's say about the executive power of both the countries. Now, firstly, what do we mean by executive power? Executive power is a branch of government that is responsible for the day-to-day management of the state. The executive does not pass law or interpret them. Then also let's talk about the executive power of Russia. The executive power is exercised by the government of the Russian Federation, and the prime minister is appointed by the president. Mm, with the consent of the State Duma. The government consists of chairman of the government of the Russian Federation, deputy chairman, and federal ministers. And if we see in India, the executive power is like as per the Article 53 of Indian Constitution, the executive power is vested mainly in the President of India. The President has all the constitutional power and exercises, and also he exercises them directly or through subordinate officers. Then the President is also responsible for appointing many high officials in India. So friends, and the further topic will be continued by my friend Bhakti.
Thank you, Rushikesh. Hello, everyone. Myself, Bhakti Khandekar. I'm from Group 102. Here, I will present a short info on personal rights and responsibilities and head leader of the state. So, rights and responsibilities help people uh, make our communities better. Rights are freedom we have that are protected by our laws, while responsibilities are duties or things that we should do. In order to be a good citizens or members of community, we must understand our rights and responsibilities. In India, being a citizen of Indian, some of the moral responsibilities and duties mentioned in the Constitution are: we must respect our national flag and national anthem, obey the laws of our country, protect the power, unity, and integrity, safeguard public property, pay our fares with honesty. In Russia, citizens of the Russian Federation shall have the right to assemble peacefully without weapons, hold rallies, mass meetings, and demonstration of marches. Citizens of the Russian Federation shall have the right to participate in managing state affairs both directly through their representatives. Respect and obey federal, state, and local laws. Respect the rights, beliefs, and opinions of others. Pay income and other taxes honestly. In Russian Constitution, the Constitution was framed in 1993, while the Indian Constitution was made in November 1949 and adopted in January 1950. In both countries, PM is appointed by the President, but in Russia, PM performs President's duty in case of his death. There is not a single integrated judicial power in Russia like in India. There is an independent constitutional court and Supreme Court at the apex. So, thank you.